The Sears 2100 series AM and FM boombox from the 1980s will give most any boombox from the 90s and early 2000s a run for their money. Seems just about everybody was in the production of boomboxes in the 1980s. This being a prime example of Sears Roebuck & Co. trying their hand at a boombox, reasonable size and performance, being significantly bulkier than a modern day equivalent, has its benefits, mostly with regard to its sound fidelity. The quality that you can expect from the two full range drivers and the two tweeters is outstanding. It's really something that there's something to be said for something of this age that can outperform pretty much any modern day contender. Now, I'm not talking about stereo systems with adequately sized speakers or anything along those lines. I'm talking about most, if not all, boomboxes that are meant to be portable, or at least somewhat portable in nature. As is usual for boomboxes or anything with a cassette mechanism in it of this age, rewind and fast forward is lethargic, to say the least. However, playing tapes does work without issue. There's a fairly ingenious method that Sears engineered to indicate when the tape is paused. Fully mechanical, it's not digital, it isn't even electronic. As soon as you press the pause button, this orange tab slides down, which gives you an ample indication of the status of the cassette deck by way of this little orange strip. Granted, the cassette mechanism could stand to have a thorough cleaning, probably the first it's ever had. There's the permanent erase head, record play head, and the pinch roller looks to be in satisfactory condition. The only thing that had me slightly concerned was the presence of these mystery stains similar to that which you can see in the cassette mechanism. There were strange mystery splotches all over the front of the cassette mechanism, but a few swipes with some isopropyl alcohol wipes seems to have cured that problem. In fact, this is a very high quality specimen. There's what Sears calls the automatic program selection system. It's claimed that through the APSS functionality you can cue a tape very easily, or rather have the boombox itself cue the tape automatically. So let's say you're listening to a certain song and you want to skip ahead to the next track on the album. It'll already be engaged in the play mode, and then you need only press either fast forward or rewind. Doesn't seem to be working at present, which is unfortunate. It would be nice to be able to take advantage of that. But usually if I'm going to be listening to a cassette tape, it's all the way through, not just for a single song. And if you guess that this has built-in capabilities for recording audio, stereo, you're most assuredly correct. There's a record mute button for use with the two built-in stereo microphones, which were of the utmost quality I've heard in a boombox. Remember, these are internal microphones, and the quality that they're able to manage is really quite surprising, especially considering that many of these boomboxes put in recording capabilities by way of an internal microphone as an afterthought. But this one's in stereo. Compare the 6 inches or so of pure speaker to the 3.5 inches or so on most mid-1990s boomboxes. Wouldn't be a 1980s piece of audio equipment if it were bereft of blinking lights. And there is an FM stereo light, FM and AM tuning indicator, and it is slightly misaligned. There's 3 different positions for the power switch. There's one called sleep, radio on, and tape, which also turns the radio off and for all intents and purposes serves as the off setting. Don't exactly have an idea of how the sleep mode is intended to function. I don't see any mention or presence of a timer of any kind, so I'm curious how that would work. Perhaps it would allow the radio or the cassette to play for a certain amount of time, after which it would turn off or maybe fade out. I'm unsure. It's FM stereo or nothing. It would have been a great benefit to this boombox's usability had you been able to revert to FM mono in the case of excessively noisy FM stereo broadcasts. The left side is populated with external stereo microphone inputs with separate gain trimmer pots. Left and right external speaker outputs, 3.2 to 8 ohms resistance, a 1/4 inch stereo phones jack, and a switch for alternating between AC or DC. It's a fortunate sight not to see any battery corrosion.
$8. 물론 성능이 다소 차이는 WBGO seem reasonable. $10 a month of enjoyment. Make a pledge of $10 a month, and we'll send you this CD that Rob's about to play at 1-800-499-9246.
Okay, during the music of Monk. Make that pledge. You can get the CD. You can get a member's card. You will know that you kept jazz on the radio.
This radio also has great sensitivity because this is 107.1, which is sandwiched between 106.7, 106.9, and a station broadcasting on 107.5. And many tuners, analog tuners, struggle to get it properly. They end up, you hear bleed over from the adjacent channels.
And I really want everyone to think very seriously about understanding how the markets work, because for me personally, getting the knowledge, getting the education about how to invest and trade from Online Trading Academy.
Overall, I'd say it was a worthwhile decision to stop and pick up this radio. It's fully working. It could stand to have some new belts, but aside from that, it should provide many years, if not decades, of reliable service.